In a world where appearances often shape perceptions, small acts of kindness can remind us that true value lies deeper than what we see on the surface. Today's story is about a poor girl who mistakenly sat at the wrong table, and the powerful CEO whose unexpected response changed her life forever. It all began in a bustling city, inside one of the most luxurious hotels in town. The place was alive with chatter, sparkling chandeliers hanging above, and the aroma of fine cuisine filling the air. The hotel restaurant was famous for hosting the city's elite, businessmen, politicians, celebrities, and CEOs. Ordinary people rarely walked through its golden doors. But that evening, a young girl named Sarah found herself inside. Sarah was only 19 years old, working 2 part-time jobs to help support her sick mother at home. She barely made enough to pay rent and buy medicine, but she carried herself with quiet strength. That night, after her shift at the bookstore, she had wandered into the hotel lobby, seeking warmth from the cold night air. She wasn't there to eat, only to rest for a moment. But as she looked into the restaurant, her eyes widened. She saw the glittering tables, the crisp white linens, the families and executives laughing over expensive meals. She imagined, just for a moment, what it would be like to belong in such a place. Gathering her courage, Sarah stepped inside. She walked nervously, her thrift store shoes squeaking against the polished marble floor. She spotted an empty table near the back and, without realizing it, she sat down. What she didn't know was that the table she had chosen was reserved for a group of wealthy businessmen, including one of the most powerful CEOs in the city, James Carter. A waiter approached her immediately, frowning. "Miss, can I help you? This table is reserved." Sarah froze. Embarrassed, she lowered her gaze. I'm sorry, I didn't know, I just needed to sit for a moment." Before the waiter could send her away, a deep, commanding voice interrupted. "Let her stay." All heads turned. James Carter, a man in his early 40s with sharp eyes and an air of authority, had spoken. The waiter hesitated, but James repeated calmly, "She stays." Sarah looked up, startled. She had heard of James Carter, the CEO of a massive corporation known for both his wealth and his intimidating presence. Why would someone like him defend her? James gestured for the waiter to bring a menu. "Order whatever you'd like," he told Sarah. Her heart pounded. "Oh no, sir, I can't, I don't have." James raised his hand, silencing her gently. "You're my guest tonight, please." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in a long while, she felt seen, not ignored. She shyly ordered a small plate of food, and when it arrived, she ate slowly, savoring each bite as if it were the most precious meal of her life. The businessmen at the table whispered among themselves, confused by James's decision. Why was he allowing a poor girl, clearly out of place, to sit with them? But James wasn't focused on appearances. He watched Sarah carefully, noticing how grateful she looked, how she carried herself with quiet dignity despite her worn clothes. During the meal, James began asking Sarah gentle questions. "What's your name, Sarah?" She replied softly. "And what do you do, Sarah?" "I work at a bookstore, and also at a diner," she explained. "I'm trying to save enough money for college, but right now, most of it goes to my mom's medicine." The table grew quiet. Even the businessmen who had judged her at first looked at her differently now. James nodded thoughtfully. "You're working 2 jobs while caring for your mother. That's not easy." Sarah shrugged, her eyes lowering again. "It's just what I have to do. She raised me alone, so now it's my turn to take care of her." There was strength in her voice, but also exhaustion. For the rest of the dinner, James made sure Sarah felt comfortable. He included her in conversations, asked about her dreams, and even made her laugh with light-hearted jokes. Slowly, she forgot her shame and simply felt human. When the evening ended, Sarah tried to thank him. "I can never repay you for this kindness. Thank you, Mr. Carter." But James only smiled. "Sometimes, the greatest repayment is to never give up on yourself. Promise me that." Sarah nodded, her heart full. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah thought that was the end of it. Just a beautiful, fleeting moment of kindness in her hard life. But she was wrong. A few weeks later, she received an unexpected call. It was from James's office. Confused, she answered, and the voice on the other end explained that James Carter wanted to see her. Nervously, she agreed. When she arrived at his towering office building, she felt small and intimidated. But James greeted her warmly. "I've been thinking about our conversation," he said. "You told me you dream of going to college. Tell me, what would you study? Sarah hesitated, then admitted, I've always wanted to study literature. I love books, and one day, I'd love to be a teacher or even a writer. But, dreams are expensive. James leaned forward. Dreams are valuable, and sometimes, they just need a little help to take flight. He handed her an envelope. Inside was a full scholarship to a local university, tuition, books, and living expenses covered. Sarah gasped, unable to believe what she was seeing. I can't accept this, she stammered, tears welling in her eyes. Yes, you can, James said firmly. You deserve a chance. You sat at the wrong table that night, but maybe it was exactly where you were meant to be. Sarah broke down, overwhelmed with gratitude. For years, she had felt invisible, struggling to survive in a world that never noticed her. But in that moment, she realized that kindness still existed, and sometimes it came from the most unexpected places. With James's support, Sarah enrolled in university. She studied tirelessly, determined not to waste the opportunity she had been given. Over the years, she grew into a confident young woman, full of hope and ambition. She stayed in touch with James, who became a mentor and father figure to her. Years later, Sarah stood in front of her own classroom as a teacher. Her students adored her, not only for her knowledge but for the kindness she radiated. She often shared her story, teaching her students that one act of compassion can change the course of a life. And as for James, he often looked back on that evening with quiet satisfaction. To the world, he was a CEO, a man of wealth and power. But to Sarah, he was the man who looked past appearances and saw her worth when no one else did. In the end, Sarah sitting at the wrong table had been no accident. It was fate's way of bringing two lives together, one in need of kindness, and one willing to give it. This story reminds us all that sometimes, the tables we sit at in life are not mistakes. They are opportunities, moments where we can choose compassion over judgment, generosity over indifference. James's words still echo today. You sat at the wrong table, but maybe it was exactly where you were meant to be. And for Sarah, that one moment of kindness didn't just change her night, it changed her entire future. So the next time you see someone out of place, struggling, or overlooked, remember, kindness costs nothing, but its impact can be priceless. One act, one choice, can rewrite someone's story.